Welcome to this session on a successful combination classroom from kindergarten through grade 6. What we'd like to do today are do 3 different things. Scheduling, first of all, and then we're going to talk about some helpful hints, and then we're going to talk about some teaching techniques. But let me give you a quick introduction. What are the benefits of a combined classroom? Well, maturity of students, that does help. Independent hard workers for short periods of time. Repetition aids learning. They'll get to hear it again. They'll develop a thirst for learning because they hear from other students. It's not second best, and with God's help, I can do it. Nothing is impossible. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to look at the scheduling to start with. And you might say, well, what are you doing? Well, usually there's 2 classes for most combined classes. Not always, but usually that's the typical that I have seen. We're going to show you some ideas for planning your schedule. It is based on the 7-hour school day that Abeka has, and we're going to cover that. And I don't know your enrollment, so you're going to have to kind of suggest some things and plan some things based on what I'm telling you. We're going to look at the schedule and we're going to get started. So we're going to look at 2 grades at one time. What are we going to do? Well, this is the scheduling of grades 1 and 2. You say, what are you going to do the very first thing? Well, you've got to get there in the morning and be ready to go. Now you say, well, my school takes up at 8 o'clock. Well, then I would probably suggest that you be there at 7:30. If you're there at 7:30, you can help your students get everything ready. You say, what are they going to be doing? Well, there's things like at 8 o'clock, you've got to stop and make sure all of them are there. And there's no one tardy. There's no one missing. They've got to be there because you'll want to write that in your attendance book. But there's some other things that they can be doing when they come in, because most of these students will be coming in somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. And you go, oh, okay. So what is going to happen? Well, they come in, and the first thing you're going to have to teach them the very first day is where to put all their things. And you go, oh, okay, what does that mean? Well, they've got to take their coats and their sweaters and things like that. If you live up north, you probably need some boots or something like that, and they'll have to put those all away. And you're going to have to tell them that. You say, when am I going to tell them all this? Oh, you're going to be telling them that the first 2 or 3 days of school. And you'll show them where to put everything, like their lunch pails. If they bring a lunch pail, where are they supposed to put it? And if there's homework, they'll have to lay it on their desk so you can quickly check it. You go, oh, so I'm going to be very, very busy. Oh, yes, you're going to be very, very busy. You're going to have to, at about 8:02, 8:03, you need to take them, the whole class, to the restroom. You go, oh. Now, probably I wouldn't let them get drinks at that point, but I think if you have little water bottles in your classroom, that's fine. They can drink out of their little water bottles. That's okay. And that seems to work pretty good for everybody. You go, oh, okay. So it's mainly take them to the restroom, have them wash their hands, bring them back to the classroom. That can take 2 to 3 minutes, depending on where your restroom is. And so you get that done, you bring them back to class, and they're ready to go. But there are some other things that need to happen, and I'll just mention them for some of the grade levels, particularly grades 1 and 2. They have to get out all of their work, and they have to get all of their seat work ready. You say, what do you mean? Well, you may have little mailboxes for them to put their things in, and some teachers do. They have their little mailbox and they stick them in there. But you probably have to have them go and get what we call a folder, and they'll have a folder probably in their desk. I used one of our Abeka folders so you can see that. And you say, what are you going to do? Well, on this side, they would put all of their work for the time right here in this folder. And then over here, and this side, once they finish it, they put it over here. You go, oh, so these little folders are real helpful. Oh, very, very helpful. And it's very, very good for 1st and 2nd grade students to have the folders, and that's always good. You go, well, what else do they do? Well, they have to write down their homework. You go, oh, okay. What do you do? Well, you probably put it up on the chalkboard so that it's all ready to go. If you don't have a chalkboard, you may want to dictate it. That 5th and 6th grade is where we usually dictate their homework, but you may want to wait a couple weeks before you start because your school may be new and they maybe have not heard about dictated homework yet. So you may have to help them with that and show them how to have their dictated homework. You go, oh, okay. So it's all training that's going to happen. That's right. Keep in mind that 3rd and 4th graders can write down their homework without any question. 5th and 6th can write theirs down as well. So you say, okay, so there's a lot to do. There really is, because these students have to put away everything. But you, as a teacher, need to make sure you train them that very first week of school and make sure that they're learning how to do these things. You go, okay, we can do that. That'll work. You go, all right, we can do that. Now, what's going to happen, and we're going to go back to 1st and 2nd grade, and we're just going to go through the day, and I'm going to give you some suggestions, and it might help you in planning your schedule today. First of all, the first thing we always have is Bible. And you say, what is Bible? Well, it's a Bible class that you are going to teach because you need to carry a spiritual burden for your students. And you say, well, what's going to happen that first year? Probably you will teach the grade 1 Bible program to all of the students. And then next year, when you come back, if you're the same teacher, you will want to teach the 2nd grade Bible program for all of them. That way they have something different. You don't want to teach 2 Bible lessons. You just want to teach 1. You go, all right, we can do that. Then what happens? Well, as they're singing their last song in Bible, you kind of move the easel back a little bit where they had their picture cards there for them. And then as they're seated, you go right into explanation of their seat work. You go, oh, but let me tell you, you've got 3 days before reading circles start, so that will help you a great deal. You'll be fine. You'll just be fine. So you've got 3 days to teach them how to be ready for their seat work time and their reading time. You go, that's good, yes. So you work on that and you explain them, and we call it bedding them down and getting them ready. And then we call up grade 1 reading circles. You go, oh, well, there's 2. You say, but the lesson plans say I've got 3. Yes, I know they do, but you're only going to have 2. You don't have time for 3. So you have 2. I don't know which groups you're going to have. You might want to start with group 2 and group 3. That will work. And that should help you get started. You may soon stop and say, I don't need a group 2. I think I'm going to go up to group 1 because some of these students are really fast. And that's fine. It just depends on what happens. But you have about 15 minutes for each of those reading groups. The other students are working on their seat work. Then when you get done with those 2 reading groups, you better check the 2nd graders to see if they did what you told them to do. Are they working on what you told them to do during that last 30 or 40 minutes? Okay, that's what you want them to do. Then what? Well, we're going to go to the 2 reading groups, and you say, oh, 2 reading groups for grade 2? Yes, for grade 2. And you go, oh, but now that later, 2nd semester, they won't have those 2 reading groups, but you can pick out which groups you want, and that should be fine. You go, oh, I can handle that. You say, all right, good. So you'll have 2 more groups, and then you've got to do a seat work check on grade 1. You go, oh, there's lots of things to do. Yes, there are lots of things to do. What else? By this time, they've had 2 hours. They went to the restroom at 8 o'clock. Their hands will start going up. You better take them to the restroom very quickly. You say, oh, I've only got 5 minutes. Yes, just run them down to the restroom and run them back, so to speak. That's what we call it. And you go, oh, you don't waste a lot of time. Oh, no. You just go down to the restroom. They use the restroom. They wash their hands. They come back, and they start going. You go, oh, what's next? Well, it's going to be Phonics 1. You say, oh, okay. So we've got Phonics 1 going, and it's about 15 minutes. It's a little less than what it says in the lesson plans, but you are going to need to work with the students on this and make sure they go very, very quickly. That 20 minutes is based on having 25 to 30 students in a room. You probably will not have that many, so I think it will help you in getting things done. And then right after that, the second grade will have their phonics, and it's about 20 minutes. And their lesson plans say it takes about 30 minutes to do it, but you don't have many minutes, so you're just going to have to go very, very quickly to get that done. Go, okay, I can do that. I think you can. I think you can. Now you say, okay, they'll get all this done, and then what happens? Then it's time for their writing time. The first semester is pretty much penmanship in first and second grade. Now, we like to do cursive writing with our students in first and second grade. So I hope that they've had it in kindergarten, so they're coming in and they kind of know what it is that you're doing. And have that cursive writing for first grade and second grade, and make sure they're doing what they need to do. First semester is more penmanship. Second semester is more creative writing and working with those students. You go, okay, I can do that. And then they can work on it in seat work. You say, what is next? Well, they've got to put everything away very, very quickly. They've got to put them in these folders, you see, and stick it in their desk or put it underneath their desk. And then they're going to go to what we call arithmetic reviews and combinations with the speed drills. You go, oh, and you've got about 10 minutes. That's right. You can actually drill them together and work with them together. You can go boys, you can go girls, you can go grade 1, grade 2, and you can you can have contests and all kinds of things. You'll love it. You go, oh. But save the last about 3 minutes for a speed drill. You say, why? Because grade 1 and 2 only have 1 minute to do their speed drill. So they're going to do their speed drill very, very quickly, and some of them will be all done, and they'll be ready to go. You go, oh, okay. So they will be ready for that. Yes, they will be. And then you say, what happens after that? Well, it's time for arithmetic 1. You go, oh, okay. I've got about 30 minutes to cover grade 1, that lesson plan. It's the teaching of the new material that you're going to be doing, yes. And you go, well, what are the grade 2 students doing? They're doing their seat work. That's what they're doing. You go, oh, so they get out their folder and they begin to work on it. Yes, that's what they do. You go, oh, okay. And then immediately after that, it's time for a quick recess. You go, oh. So what does that mean? It's probably just standing and doing a few exercises in the classroom. That's probably all it means. You go, oh, okay, I think I can do that. Yes, I think you can. What else? And then it's time to go to the restroom, wash their hands and use the restroom, and then go to lunch. Now, I hope you can eat in another room, and it's not in your classroom, but some schools have to eat in their room. And you go, oh, okay. So you may have to wipe off the tops of the desk or whatever and get them ready. And when you get finished, you'll have to wipe them down again and such. But you can do that pretty quick, and it should help you to get your things done. You say, what happens then? And then it's time for arithmetic 2. You go, oh, okay. So I'm going to go to arithmetic 2 now. Yes, you are. You say, but there was no recess. No. Recesses is after all the things are being taught. Okay, that's what we're going to do. You say, okay. And then about 30 minutes later, they'll all start raising their hands. So you might as well just take them to the restroom. So we take them real quickly to the restroom and bring them back. You say, okay, we can do that. Then what? Now this next thing is spelling 1, 2, and poetry. There's 15 minutes, and I don't know how you want to do it. Some schools like to have them just drill the spelling words for first grade, and then drill the second grade spelling words, and then do poetry together. You may not want to do that. You may want 7 or 8 minutes and just do spelling 1 and include their poetry, and then go to spelling 2, and you've got 7 or 8 minutes that you can do that. You go, okay, I could do that, and that would cover that. Yes, that would cover it. What else? Then it's time to do those 4 reading groups again. You say, but we had them in the morning. Oh, but you got to have them again in the afternoon, 10 minutes each, and there's 4 of them. Wow. So you're going to be busy. Yes, you are. You're going to need to call them up very, very quickly and let them read. Then what? Got to get a quick seat work check, real seat work. I mean, it's got to be quick. And you just check to make sure they're ready to go. What do you do then? Now it's time for their recess. You go, oh, okay, we'll take them out and let them play for about 20 minutes. And you may have some games or exercises or something like that to go with. But then you bring them back in and they go to the restroom, and then you bring them back into classroom. And in the classroom, it's time for activity time. You say, what would that be? Science, history, health, art once a week, music once a week, it's class singing, and then some stories. You go, oh, how do you want me to do that? That is going to be up to your school. I do not know what you want to do. The actual books in 1st and 2nd grade are meant to be read on their level. I'm not sure you're going to want to put 1st graders in 2nd grade books and things like that. I don't think you will. Maybe the first year you could put them all in 1st grade if they've never had the materials, but it's just going to have to be something your school will have to decide. So you can take about 10 or 12 minutes and do a science lesson, and then go 10 or 12 more minutes with another science lesson. About 3 days a week we do science, 3 days a week we do history, and then 3 days a week we do health until the books are finished. And that's really what we do. But art is once a week, class singing or music time is once a week, and story can be whenever you have a few minutes, you can read a story. Go, oh, okay, I can do that. Then what? And they pack up and they get ready to go home. You go, whoa, that was a busy day. Yes, it was. But you say, what's going to happen next? Well, we're going to go to what we call grades 3 and 4. You thought grades 1 and 2 were busy. Wait till you have grades 3 and 4. You say, what's going to happen? Well, we've got that daily routine business that we talked to you earlier about. 3 and 4 will probably do theirs a little faster and a little quicker, and it will be fine. And you go, oh, okay, we can do that. And they take them to the restroom, make sure they're ready, come back, have Bible class. And again, you'd have 3rd grade Bible with all of them, and then the next year could do 4th grade Bible with all of them, and that should work. Go, okay, then what? Well, they put away everything as they sing their last song, and you move that easel back. It's time for arithmetic reviews and their speed drills. And there's about 15 minutes to do this. And you go, oh, okay. So what are we going to do? I would probably do most of this together, very honest with you. There's a lot of multiplication and division tables that need to be done. There's also addition and subtraction. So you could do a lot of this together. You go, oh, okay, I think I could. And then save a little bit of time, probably about 4 to 5 minutes at the very end, to do the speed drill, because they each have to have their own speed drill. And they're different times. They're not the same amount of time. It's 2, 3, 4 minutes is what they would say on their lesson plans. And you see, oh, so you have to quickly say go, and they all begin to go. But one of them will probably stop a little early, and you could quickly check that and pass them in, and then go to the next one and do that. Go, okay, I think I can do that. What's next? Well, it's time to teach arithmetic 3. You say, what's arithmetic 4 doing? They're doing the back of the page, because we call it the back of the page. It's not really that. It will be up on the chalkboard what lessons they should be doing and what numbers they should be working on. That will be fine. And so you can do that. You go, oh, okay. The 4th graders are working on their seat work, and the 3rd graders are having their class. Yes. And then grade 4 will have their class, and you will teach that lesson for them, and they will have it done. You go, oh, okay. We will go over that. Now, I'll show you something in just a few minutes that will tell you how we check their seat work and what we do in just a minute. I'll explain that to you. Then it's 10 o'clock. Take them to the restroom and come back. If they want to have a little drink out of their drinking bottle or you have a drinking fountain for them to drink, you might want to do 2 or 3 exercises to keep them going and keep them paying attention to what you're doing. And then it's time for reading. I would probably have about 30 minutes for third grade reading. Fourth grade reading, probably about 20 minutes. Now, if you don't like that, you can do 25 and 25, but you've got an hour or you've got 50 minutes there to do it. So you should be fine, and you should be fine to do that. You go, oh, okay, I could do that. Then what? Then it's time for spelling. You go, there's no circles there. No. You may want to do spelling 3 by itself and spelling 4 by itself. So you're going to take about 10 minutes each day, and you're going to drill them. The third graders on their spelling words and the fourth graders on their spelling words. You say, well, what are they doing when they're not having class? They're just writing their words. Yeah, that's all they've got to do. You go, oh, okay, they can write their words. That'll work. And then it's time to go to language 3. It's only 20 minutes, but you're just going to have to teach it in that amount of time. It's not hard to do, but you're going to have to push to get it done. They can finish their pages when you go to the language 4. Here's language 4, which is about 30 minutes long, and you go, oh, okay, so the students in grade 3 could be working on it, and you could assign some things for grade 4 to do. Yes, you could. And that will help them to do it. That is up on the chalkboard, and they know how to look up and do it. They don't raise their hand during combined classes. No, they keep their hands down, and they keep working. You go, okay, all right. And then it's time for the restroom and go to lunch. Now, again, I hope you're not in your classroom to eat. Maybe you have to be, and that's fine. So keep that in mind. And you go to lunch and come back, and maybe right when you come back, you just do their poetry. You might want to do that real quick. Now, some of you want to learn all of the poems for grade 3, and that's what you want to do this year. Maybe you want just third grade to learn theirs and fourth grade to learn theirs. You've got 5 minutes. You can probably go through it, and it should not be a problem. You say, what are you going to do then? It's time for penmanship. We call it creative writing. Penmanship is first semester. Creative writing is second semester. And you go, oh. So at 12:45, you better be right on that writing time and making sure you're getting that writing time done. You go, okay, I can do that. They each have their own time. Yes, they do. Now, 105 to 205 is going to be extremely interesting because you actually have 4 classes to teach at this time. And you say, oh, what am I going to do? Well, you might want a helper. If a helper could teach 2 of the classes and you teach the other 2, that would be good. If they can do it, I'm not sure they can. But if you have someone that can help you teach, that would be great. You go, I think maybe we could do that. Here's your other time, the other 30 minutes, and what you can do. You say, oh, so the helper could help and you could do the other class. That would help, yes. There is something else that's going to happen, and that would be the afternoon time. It gets very busy in 3 and 4. And you can have different schedules in the afternoons on different days of the week. That's fine. You can do that. You might want your helpers to be doing class singing, or they might do art one day a week, or somebody that music theory with the flutophone and all that. That's great. That's great. You go, oh, okay. But if someone could take them out for recess and you could keep teaching, you might be able to do two science classes and 2 history classes if someone else took your students and did other things with them. And that could be something you could plan. So you might want to consider that. That might be a help to you and give you a little help before they pack up and such and go home. They could have some study hall, and they could have some stories and things like that. So I'm hoping you get a chance to do all of that. Are you seeing how busy you are? You are extremely busy. What's happening next? Well, the next thing is coming to grade 5 and 6. And you say, what happens here? Remember, we told you at some point they need to learn to dictate their homework and get it written down, ready to go. You'll want to be checking homework as it comes in. Perhaps you've have them lay it on their desk and you just go up and down the aisle and see it all. That's fine, and that way you can see that it's done. Then it's time for Bible, like we had in 3 and 4. And one year you do grade 5 Bible. The next year you do grade 6 Bible. You go, okay, I can do that. Then what? Now it's time for those reviews again. You go, oh no, reviews, yes, with speed drills, yes, you got to have that. So it's got 15 minutes to do it. And again, I think you can do it together. A lot of it can be done together. You can call on grade 5 for some, grade 6 for others. It'll be fine. Sometimes you can have your combination times together between the boys and the girls and such, and you'll be fine. What else? After you've done that, it's time for arithmetic 5. You go, okay. I'm going to cover arithmetic 5, and then I'm going to switch to arithmetic 6. That's right. The other students are working on their independent work in arithmetic during this time, and that's what they will be doing. And that's up on the board so they know exactly what to do. Then it's time for restroom, drinks, and exercises. You go, oh, you got 10 minutes. Yeah, you got 10 minutes. You go, what? You take them to the restroom very quickly. It usually takes 2 to 3 minutes. Get them back. Maybe they can take a drink out of their little bottle of water that's at their desk or whatever. And then they can do a couple exercises. That would be fine, and that would be good for them. What else? Now it's time for language and penmanship. In grade 5, you've got about 40 minutes to do all of that. It usually takes about 30 minutes to do language, and penmanship probably about 10 minutes to do that. And then language and creative writing in grade 6, and that's the 40 minutes there. You go, oh, I think I could get that done. What else happens? Well, we're not ready for lunch yet. You go, really? No, I hope you're not. I hope you're ready for it. Here's spelling and poetry. You might want to do 5 and not 6. You say, what do you mean? All right, let's go down through this and let me show you something. There's reading 5, then they're going to the lunch, and then they've got science 5 and history 5. And you go, oh. So there's 8 classes to teach, but you're only going to teach 4. Yes. You go, why? It gets very difficult, and you're going to have a rough time if you're not careful. So you say, oh, okay, so I'm going to be really careful with this. Yes, I hope you are. Maybe one year you can do all grade 5 with all of the students, and then you could go to grade 6 the next year and just flip-flop them. You go, oh, okay, we could do that. That would help. Yes. After they get done with their academics, they get to have recess. They love PE and recess. Oh, that's great. What else? Then they come back, go to the restroom. Then they can have activity time, which is study hall, music, which is class singing, art once a week. They can read stories. Things like that can be done. And then it's time for them to pack up and go home. And you go, oh, there's a lot to be done. Yes, there is. And you have to be very, very careful with it. You say, well, what are we going to do? Well, we've got to develop some plans. You say, what is a plan? Let me give you a couple things. Here's a list of things that you can probably do. Plan on combining all of these things that you see on that list. I think that will help you a great deal if you can do that. But then there are some other things you could consider combining, and I made a list of them. You could consider those, and I think that might be of help to you if you can do that, depending on what grade levels you teach, and that would be of help to you. Then there's something else that you probably need to do after you've developed your plan. You've got to formulate a time schedule, and this time schedule is based on what I just talked to you about. You've got to get it all ready. You go, oh, me, I've got to get it all ready. Yes, you do. You have to get it ready. You go, okay, we can do that. Then what? Then we've got to do what we call a teacher time instruction guide. And you see this on your list? You'll see things up on that board that talks about in that little gray, well, it's kind of a beigey gray color. That's where you're teaching. You go, oh, okay, I can teach that. But you see the white? That's when the students are doing their seat work. Oh, but do you see the green? That's where you're checking their seat work. You go, uh-oh. I have to check it. You have about 3 minutes to check them. Yes. In other words, you've trained them that first week of school to lay out their back side of their paper, if that's the side that needs to be done, and you're going to just kind of glance at it to make sure they've got their work done. If you don't, you write their name down. That way you can check on them a little bit later. You go, oh. So you got to kind of make a teacher time instruction guide, and that will help you. You go, so I have a lot to do. Yes, you do. You have an awful lot to do. What are some other helpful hints that might help you as you go through them? Let's go and let's see a few things that might be of help. I've mentioned to you about Bible. It needs to be combined. And you go, oh, you need to carry a spiritual burden for your students, and you need to have that done. And I hope that you are doing that. You say, what else am I going to be doing? I hope you are grading all the speed drills and the quizzes and things in class, and the students get to see exactly how they've done. That's what you need to do. You go, oh, okay. So they're going to have their speed drills, and they're going to have their quizzes, and the students get to see them right then, and then they pass them into you. Yes, that's the best way to do it. Now, what about the test? When you give them a test, I don't talk about tests in kindergarten, first and second grade. We don't talk about it. But third through sixth grade, they kind of like to know what their test scores are. And so you may just grade them right after school. Right after school, you pick them up. You've picked them up and you laid them on your desk, or you put them in a tray, and then you quickly check them, and then you pass them back to the students the next day and let them see them, and then pick them up again, and you go, oh, okay, but you're going to grade them right then. Yes, that will help you right away. What else are you going to do? Well, you've got to check their seat work in class. Remember, we've been talking about this. Did you notice all those little seat work checks we've got? We've got to have those done. You go, oh. It could be anywhere from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. I'm not sure. It just depends on how long it will be. But you can do that. You go, I don't want you picking up seat work in the classroom and grading it after school. Oh my, no. You'll never be ready for the next day. You can't do that. You have to check it in class every day. That is so, so important. Don't try to pick it up and grade it and then pass it back the next day. The students do not care about their seat work from yesterday. You have to find out that they have minimum requirements done. They've done it. They've got it done. They're okay. You go, oh, so seat work is not the same as homework. No, it's not. Homework is completely different. Homework is review material and a kind of a new reading material. That's basically all it is. And you say, so it's not the same as seat work. No, it's not the same as seat work. And so we have to be very, very careful that seat work and homework are not mixed, okay? Make sure you remember that as a combined classroom teacher, because you're taking advice from experienced classroom combination teachers. So make sure you're seeing that. You go, okay, I can do that. What else can you do? Watch out for PE or recess, whatever you call it. Sometimes there's volunteers that want to help you, but you know what they want? They want it in the morning. No. You go, what? No, it has to be in the afternoon. You say, really? No. Sometimes your administrator will say, you can have the PE teacher in the morning. And we'll go, no, I'm teaching in the morning. They have to come in the afternoon. And you go, oh, so I got to have somebody that can come in the afternoon. Maybe a parent can come right before they pick up their children and have a quick PE for a couple of days a week. That would be great. That would help you a great deal. So I hope you're doing things like that, but don't let them talk you into that in the morning. That will never work, because once the children in elementary school have gone out for PE and they come back, they're too tired to work, and they're too tired to do things, and they're hot and everything else, and they have to do all kinds of things. They don't want to do that. So you have to be very careful and guard your time there. What else? Probably you don't need any aids. Probably you don't need any. I I would probably not do them. You say, really? I have been to classrooms where they have aides walking around, and I'm not sure that they really need them in there because sometimes it interrupts the teacher, or the aide has to ask a question or something like that. So we have to be very careful what we do. You go, okay, well, I'll watch for that. I'm going to watch for that. What else? You might want some volunteers, maybe, for music and art if they can get their things ready. You say, well, yeah, but they'll want to teach it in the morning. No. Remember, we talked about PE. We don't do that in the morning. So you say, what happens? Well, art can be in the afternoon, and music can be in the afternoon. It's fun. It's lively. It's interesting. You go, oh. So if a teacher or a parent or somebody wants to help you with music and art, I would not take them until they were in the afternoon, and then it's okay. And they can do that. Maybe one day a week they can help you, and that would do it. If you have music theory with that flutophone in grades 3 and 4, you might want a music teacher to help you with that, and that's always good. So that might give you some help, and that might give you some volunteers to help you. What else? Oh, now it's time for kindergarten. We have K4 and K5 students, and you go, oh, what are we going to do? Well, there's 2 types of schedules that I would like to talk to you about, and you might say, what do you mean? Well, I'm going to cover 2 plans, and it's entirely up to your school what to do, and it's just going to have to be the way you decide for your school. What are you going to do? Well, first of all, there is a Plan 1 where you have all of the students. The K4 students are in the K4 curriculum. The K5 students are in the K5 curriculum. There'll be some combining, but not a lot. You go, oh, what will they do? When they come in at 8 o'clock, they can have their restroom and their skills development time together. Bible could be combined. Yes, that's not a problem. And then we have some other things happening, and I'm going to add these to it, and I want to show you a couple of things. Do you see from 9 to 9:50? There will be a lot of things happening, and you go, oh, okay. There's phonics that could be combined, going over the verbs and the consonants and everything else they do. They do a lot of things every day that are kind of similar. And then you have to kind of combine between K4 and K5, and you can do it. But sometimes there's pages that they have in their book they have to work. So you may have them work on something else while you help another student, help another class to take care of it. So you got to help them with that. And the same with the writing time. It would be a little different. The K4 students trace, the K5 students trace and write. So there's a lot of things to do. You go, oh, so that 50 minutes is a little pushed. It is. But when it comes time for reading circles a little later in the year, you will find that you can have maybe 2 groups for K4 and 2 groups for K5 and have a seat work check, and you should be fine because they have very, very short reading circles. So I think you'll be fine to do that. What else? Story time, activity time. Activity time may need to be combined because you may not have enough time to do it. And you go, oh, okay. What else? Okay. Then you have recess. Now they love recess, so that's very important. And you say, okay, what else? Probably bring them back to the restroom, make sure they're ready to go. They can have a quick snack. And then it's time for numbers. Now, I'm going to show you, there's about 30 minutes there where they have numbers time. And you can kind of combine some of that together. They're counting, they're doing all kinds of things. You can probably do that together, and the students will enjoy that. And you go, okay. And then sometimes there's a page to do, so you have to go back and forth a little bit to do that. Then it's phonics and phonics review time. And it varies from day to day about what it is in each K4 and K5, so it gives you a little time to do that. And then it says language enrichment or language development. It's up to you what you want to do here. I'm thinking you might want to do language enrichment one time and language development another year. It just depends on what you want to do, or just split them. And K4 has language development, K5 has language enrichment. So you could do that. And then the students pack up and the students are dismissed. You go, oh, so there's a lot to do. Yes, there is a lot to do, and you've got 2 plans and you're working them. You go, okay, what is plan 2? Well, plan 2 is just actually doing K-5 material academically and then just swapping things back and forth. And you say, what do you mean? Let me explain to you what I mean. One year you use readiness skills for K-4 for all of them. The next year you use Think and Learn K-5 for all of them. In other words, you're still following the K-5 program, but you're just doing these things to help them. You go, oh, okay. Maybe one time you have art for K-4, one for the whole year, and then maybe the next year you have art for K-5 for the whole year for all of them. And you go, I think I could do that. Poetry is the same way. One year you do one, and one year you do the other. Phonics. Now this is where you would actually take the letters and sounds K-5 book, and they would pretty much do it all and let them practice it. And the 4s and 5s can do that, and that should not be a problem. However, about 6 weeks in, they start giving them a little test up there, and it says grade it and all this kind of stuff. Don't grade the K-4s. And you might not even want them to take it. You may want them to do something else that day, and that's fine, and that's fine to do. You go, oh, okay, I could do that. What else? Then we go to reading. The K-4 students, they could be your group 3, and they could read their little books and their Animal Friends books. You go, oh, okay, they could do that. Yes. And the K-5 students, they could do their basic phonics readers. That would be fine. Now, when you get to the reading, you probably only have maybe 2 groups for K-5, maybe 1 or 2 groups for K-4. It just depends on how much time you have and what you're doing. You go, oh, okay, I could do that. Numbers and numbers writing. I would use the numbers skills K-5 book and just do it with all of them. But when it comes time to grade them for K-4, I would not have them do it. If you want them to do the page to see how they're doing, that's fine. But lose it and don't grade it, okay? And that will really help you. Now, numbers writing, I would not have your K-4 students do any numbers writing. They are not ready to do that. The K-5 students can do it, so keep that in mind, and I think that will help you. Writing. Do it as scheduled, but realize that 4-year-olds just trace. So they trace what they can do, and that's fine. They're learning how, and that's fine. But if it's time to grade them, I would not grade them, and that will help them. And that will take care of it. You go, okay, we can do that. Then what? Seat work? 4-year-olds probably will not do very much seat work. You may even want to just buy them that Writing with Phonics K-4 book and let them do that for seat work while the other students are doing their regular seat work. You could do that. That would work. And that would keep it a little more organized for you, and I think it would help them. Now, social studies and science. I don't know that your students in K-4 and K-5, the K-4 students probably would not be real interested in everything in social studies. They might want some of it. Science, they probably cannot read it, but that's okay. You might want to just have the science and the social studies separate in K-5 and then have language development for K-4. So you could do that, and that might help you. You go, all right, I could do that. What else? Bible. Remember K-4 and K-5, there is a K-4 Bible program and a K-5 Bible program. They're different. There is a Bible coloring book that you use for class time for seat work, and you've got to make sure you get the right one that goes with the right Bible program. So make sure you've got that, and that will really help you as you go. So kind of watch for that, and I think it will help you as you go. And you say, Ms. Conrad, why did you tell me not to do these plans? Well, the reason I told you all of that is because it's hard. I've been to teachers who've had these classes and administrators, and they'll say, you know what? The K-5 children had a bunny rabbit paper today, and the K-4 children had a little froggy paper today, and the little K-4 child says, I want the bunny. And they'll go, and they'll cry, and they'll cry. And you say, what happens? Well, you probably don't want that. And so that's why I suggest you might want to consider Plan 2, and it might give you some things. I would tell you, if you keep your children in the afternoon for K4 and K5, I would not do any academics or a lot of these activities in the afternoon. They do not do very well. So you may want to really cut that way back and not do any. All right, so you say, what's going to happen? Well, we're going to look at some teaching techniques, and you say, what kind of techniques? You say, well, we've got drill time, which we've talked about. It's 10 or 15 minutes, and they have combinations, and they counting, and contests. Now, if you have contests, 2 or 3 points, they win the contest. That's fine, that's great. You go, oh, okay. It's not how long you drill them every day, it's how often you drill them. So you need to really do a few minutes every day, and that will help the students. We've talked about speed drill procedures. We've got to keep that down to a minimum and just keep it down to just a couple minutes, not very long at all. What about spelling time? Okay, now don't mess up in grade 1. You've got to keep grade 1 separate from everything else because their spelling words are on their phonics test. So you've got to keep that separate. And you go, oh, okay, I can do that. You say, well, what do I do when it's time to dictate maybe 2 tests? If I've got 2 tests and I can't do it like a 3rd and 4th grade, well, what do I do? You just simply say, students, get your papers ready for today. And they get their papers ready. And they get them ready. And I say to them, number 1. And I say, track. They should know that that's their word, okay? And you use it in a sentence. Quality. And you go, what are you doing? I am dictating a number 1 to each one of those. Then I go, number 2. See, if they don't know which word is theirs for that week, it's a little late in the day. You go, oh, okay, yes, it is. You go, okay, so that would really help them. Yes, it would. So I'm hoping that you are thinking that way and it will help you. Phonics and language, I would tell you, I would not force these together at all. They do different things on different days. I don't think I would probably mix them very much. If it says to do the same chart or something that day, you might be able to do it together. What naturally fits together, it could be done together, but please don't force it. And I think it will help you and you won't have to worry about it in that regard. History and science. If you're a small school, you could perhaps get on a rotation basis in some grades. Science, you might leave out a couple demonstrations. You could talk about them or you could do them. Worksheets that can be done in class while the other's being taught if you have 2 of them. If you have current events in 5th and 6th grade, you may just want to combine them just a little bit. We only have 5 or 6 in 5th grade and about 10 in 6th grade. You could maybe put them together a little bit. In history, you could do map reviews together. That won't hurt them to get ready for the next year. That's not a problem. During seat work time, while their other class is being taught, they can draw maps and they could color in pencils and they could do all kinds of things with their worksheets. So there's no problem there. So you could do some things together there and some separate as they go. Now we're going to go to reading, and you say, what's reading about? Well, reading is different. We have reading time with the students, and 1st grade and 2nd grade, they have reading groups, and they meet twice a day. So you need to make sure you're meeting twice a day. Okay, make sure you're doing that. And then when you get to 3 through 6, you've got reading once a day. So you need to make sure that you cover it and go over this very carefully. You go, oh, okay. And that will help you. So kind of watch for that. And I think it will help you in getting your combined classes doing a good job. What about independent work and seat work? We do have digital classwork that we do. And you say, all right, if we're using chalkboard, we put everything up on the chalkboard in the same place and put it in a different color. Each grade has their own color, and that would be up on the chalkboard. So that will help you a great deal. Also, train your students in grades 4, 5, and 6 that your students are working on the subject that's being taught with the other class. That would really, really help you. You go, oh, that's good. That will really help you. Yes. You go, okay, what else? Make sure they're all meeting what we call independent work requirement ideas. You say, what do you mean by that? I said, well, sometimes we can't have every student do everything. You say, oh, what do we do? Well, we have to make sure that we have the students doing just the right amount to finish for that day. Because some students are a little slower than other students. Some are higher, they're faster. And so you've got to be really careful that you don't think that all of them have to do all the seat work that you assign. So you have to make sure that you're watching for that very, very closely. And you do not say, if you don't get this done, you have to take it home for homework. No, not seat work. Independent work or seat work has to be done at school. So make sure you're watching for that. Then you get into homework, and homework is not the same as seat work, right? No. And so you've got to be very, very careful that you do that. So watch out for that, and that will help. The homework that goes home is simply homework. It's reading or doing something, and they bring it back the next day, and that's all that the parents need to know. We're going to transitions now. You say, what do you mean between subjects and grades? Work and pray that this will be smooth for the students, and help them that first week of school to learn how to do it. For example, when you begin to start doing this, I want you to go and just look at them after you've explained to them what to do that first day or two. I want you to say, now I want you to prepare for arithmetic. And they get ready for arithmetic, and you just stare at them until they get it done. And you go, really? Yeah, just explain to them what it is, and then stop and just say the words, prepare for arithmetic, and see if they can do it. And that's good. Thank you for doing that. And that's what we will do each day. Then at the end of maybe arithmetic time, and you have to say, after you've taught the one class, you say, you may continue with your arithmetic seat work, and just stare at them until they get it right. You go, oh, okay. Now, the information is up on the chalkboard, or it's on their whiteboard, or wherever it is, but they need to know what it is. You go, oh. They shouldn't have their hands waving, and they shouldn't be looking around and doing things or playing. No, they need to be working. You will also have seat work check times. You remember those little quick check times? You go up and down the aisle, and you make sure they are getting it done. You go, oh, yeah, I could do that. You know, in about 5 minutes, you could probably check 10 to 12 students. You say, really? Oh, yeah. You could just whiz down that row. That's good. You need to do that. What am I saying? Follow your time schedule. Teachers, follow your time schedule. That's really good to be able to do it. What else happens? Well, curriculum and lesson plans. Your plan book will have the lesson numbers where you're going to be. That's fine. And probably inside your plan book, you'll have a time schedule. So if anybody comes in your room, they know exactly what's going on. And then you should probably have, if you have 2 classes, you probably need 2 clipboards. And you go, oh, what do I do with those clipboards? You put the lesson plans that are in the curriculum on those clipboards. There's one for this grade and one for this grade. And you go, oh. So after you finish with this one, you put it underneath on that clipboard. And then when you finish with this one, you put that next one underneath. And each night, when you get done and the children have gone away, you get them ready for the next day and get everything in order so that you're ready to go for the next day. You go, oh, so I'm going to keep this going. Yes, you are. That will help you a great deal to keep it in order. Then you should probably collate all your tests and quizzes and worksheets a year ahead of time and put them in a lock cabinet or in a file drawer and have them ready to go. That would really help you. And you say, what is this? It's all organization for your classroom, isn't it? Yeah, That's what it is. And that's what you want to do. What else? Well, we have habits and procedures. You've got to think right now how your class will be run. Will these routines really work? Can I do these things? Remember, you ought to do all of these things that first week of school. If you don't do it the first week of school, you are going to fight it all year long. So you need to make sure you're doing it that first week of school. Now, there's a little saying we have around our school, and you might like this one, and it might help you. But I thought I could leave this with you, and I could tell you what we do. This is a little saying we have, and you say, what is it? If you don't have a plan, the students will. And you have to smile, don't you? If you don't have a plan, the students will. I want to thank you for allowing me to help you today, and we want to thank you for being with us in Abeka.